Hello everybody. Scoot down where you see me. This is Jenny with Nana's Peace Loving Cornbread. And I have done this before, but I'm going to do it again for people who haven't seen it. And this is my recipe for easy biscuits. And you know that's what I like, is easy. So the ingredients you will need is self-rising flour. I use white lily. You use whatever you need that's a light white flour. Self-rising, 2 cups. This is 2 cups of self-rising flour. You will need the oil of your choice. I have canola oil, and I have 3 tablespoons of canola oil. And of course, Southern biscuits are not Southern biscuits without some good old buttermilk. So there we go. We're going to start off with 1 1/3 cup of buttermilk. That is my written down recipe, but I can tell you anytime you're making biscuits, you may need to add or subtract a little, maybe not use all of it, but I have 2 cups of flour in this mixing bowl, and we're going to add buttermilk. I'm not going to add all of it at once. My mother used to keep a glass of buttermilk on the side and just use it till she got what she needed out of it. Keep adding some more and just stir it in. Well, doesn't matter when, but I'm going to go ahead and add my oil since it's a liquid as well. That was 3 tablespoons of oil. Kind of mix it in. And now I'm going to add the rest of the buttermilk, and we'll see if that is enough for this amount of flour. This is my written down recipe. When I make biscuits for myself, I don't do all this measuring. But for the sake of those who are not used to just winging it, we're going to do it like this. Okay, you see I have a fairly stiff batter that I can handle. Always put your little flour in a little dish on the side that you roll them out on so you can handle them. Of course, I start with clean hands. And if there's a germ that gets in there, if we cook them at 450 degrees, I don't think it would survive. So, but we do start with clean hands. Let me pull my sleeve up a little bit and get out of the way. Okay. Now what I do, I push all this off with my finger. And I wipe it off with my rag over here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is now you can make big old cat head biscuits, or you can make regular size. I don't like mine real big. That way I can eat more biscuits. Because I don't like them personally big and thick. I just like them just crisp on the bottom and brown on the top a little. Now, you saw me drop that in the flour. The flour will make it easy to handle. This is stiff enough dough that it's going to be okay. You see, can you see what I'm doing? I drop that spoon of dough into the flour, and you just roll it around and then kind of flip it back and forth to shake the excess flour off, and then you roll them until they're kind of smooth, and I pat mine down just a smidge there to make them pretty. Now I've done this several times on my Facebook page, but just in case you may have not seen it, we're going to make it again, because I'm going to eat this with something else. And y'all know I made this sausage last night So I had some leftover sausage from what I cooked last night. It will be good with it, or gravy, but I have something else in mind that I'm going to eat with it. So just keep doing that, you see. It'll be good and crunchy on the bottom and nice and smooth on the top. Now these are not going to be like sky-high biscuits. This is not the kind I'm making. This is just a regular size biscuit that you could split open and put you something inside it. I got that one a little bigger than the rest of them. These are really good to have with gravies and anything you like biscuits with. These are the kind that I like. I grew up on all my life. They're not the big old fluffy ones. They're just regular old biscuits, and they're fluffy enough, but I don't like them that big and fluffy because that's a lot of a biscuit to eat. I prefer mine a little smaller. So here we go. And out of this amount, let's see how many we got. I get this off the spoon and off the sides. And try to use all my dough. I don't have any left. Drop it over in here. Now sometimes I make my dough a little thinner with a little buttermilk and let them spread out and be a little thinner. When my husband was here, he liked them like that. So you see, let's count how many biscuits we got out of those 2 cups. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Okay, I usually say about 10 biscuits, but that's all that pan will hold. Let me rinse my hands off. And this is not a necessity, but I like to put just a little bit of oil on top of them. So pour another little bit of oil in this little measuring thingy. That's a big old jug of canola oil. And I'm just going to kind of do this on the top and spread a little oil on them. You can do this with butter, but this is what I do. And my pan is seasoned. I didn't put any extra oil in there. It's well seasoned, so they'll be crisp. Okay, I have my oven heated for 450 degrees. And you can see that's a nice little pan of biscuits. 3, 6, 9 biscuits. I've got a little speck that came off my pan. This black pan has a little thing. Okay. There you go. I'm going to put them in the oven now. And we'll look at them when they get done. Be right back. Okay, while the biscuits are cooking, I'm going to show you how I make one form of gravy. There's so many different kinds of gravy that you can make. I'm going to move you over just a little closer. And we're going to make some gravy. Now I have a little bit of oil, and I also put a little bit of bacon grease in here. I may have to take some out. I have a little bit too much for the amount that I need to make. A little bit of it out. Now, there's so many different ways to make gravy. I've just got to get some of this oil out. It was a little more than I thought I had. So let's see. So this is one form of gravy that I make. I have made it for breakfast, and I've made it with chicken. But, you know, if you fry a meat, whatever's left in there after you drain your grease makes the best gravy. But so I put a little bit of bacon grease in this one since I haven't just cooked a meat. Give it a little flavor, but with bacon grease, I would usually do it a little bit differently, but I'm just going to put, and I don't have an exact measure for this. This all depends on the amount of grease, but when I rolled out my biscuits and I had this little bit of flour left, I'm just putting it in here, just around like that. And we're going to whisk it around in this pan I've got on 6, and it's got, I'm going to look at it and decide if I need a little bit more. The object is to brown this gravy, this flour, I'm sorry, to make the gravy taste really good. The easy way to make gravy is to start with a grease in your pan, and this is self-rising flour. You can use flour, but you can use plain if you want to. If that's what you got handy. And we'll see. I keep adding just a little because I had a little more oil and grease than I thought. Okay, you can see it's starting to brown. I'm just going to keep stirring and let it get brown. I don't like mine to be really dark brown. But you can do this with if you're serving this with chicken or you're serving it for breakfast, it's really good with eggs and biscuit. Just add chicken broth to it. That'll give you some flavor. You can add milk. You can add water. Whatever liquid you choose that you want yours to taste like this. And you just add it to the consistency you want it. Now, the longer it sits here cooks, the thicker it's going to get. I kind of like mine medium. I don't want it really thin, but I want it. This chicken broth, I want it to have some consistency to it. I'm going to keep adding. And that's how you have to do. This is a trial and error method. You see, we got some pretty light brown gravy. Now, I'm going to add pepper to this. I'm using self-rising flour, so that would have salt in it. I've used some bacon grease, which will be salty. I have used some broth that is salty, so everything is already salted. I'm just going to go ahead and use the rest of this because it'll be wasted if not. So just throw this away. And I can let it sit there and to the desired consistency. Just keep stirring it. I don't see any lumps, but I'll let it sit there a minute and cook. And I'm got my biscuits on for 20 minutes, so they're beginning to brown after about 10 of those minutes. Okay, let me get a small bowl to take it up in. Maybe this one will hold it. It's already one I had out. Okay, I'm gonna bring you a little closer. Oops, turn loose, didn't it? There we go. See that nice and bubbly, light brown gravy with a good pepper in it. That'll be really good on those biscuits if that's what I decide to eat, but I can heat it up. I might have to add a little water to it after it gets cold and reheat it, but you can reheat the gravy as long as you add some water to it and thin it down again because it'll get thick as it sets, as it gets colder. So there's a very small bowl of gravy. Turn it off before I burn myself. So we're about ready to get the biscuits out. I want you to know that this gravy is delicious. I already tasted it, and it's a good consistency. It's not too thin, but it's thick enough to stay on your biscuit, but it's not thick enough that you can eat it with a fork. We don't want the gravy that thick. Some people do. I don't, but however you like it, that's how you cook it. So, about to get the biscuits out. They have been on for about 17 minutes. I put them on 20, so I won't get them out just a little early. Okay, these are not as light as they look under this lighting. They look really light. And you see that they're kind of a golden brown. I'm going to see if there's brown. They're brown on the bottom. We're going to turn them out into this pan. These are light brown. These would be more fluffy than if I cooked them a long time. So there you go. And we could get, I'm going to get a paper plate here. And we're just going to cut open a biscuit and put some gravy in it and let you see how delicious they are. See, these are, they're getting hot. They're plenty fluffy. You got enough inside, but you don't, it's not all fluffiness. It's good solid biscuit. So I'm going to dip some gravy over this, and won't this be good with some scrambled eggs or some kind of meat? It would. So, here we go. This is going to be so good for any meal. You can plan your meal around this biscuit and gravy and put something else with it. I'll scoot down and bend over where you can see me. It's hot. That is so good. I got plenty of pepper in it. So that kind of makes it tasty, but if it's too much for you, if somebody doesn't like pepper, adjust that accordingly. Let's see. That's thick enough. That is really good. I hope you'll try biscuit and gravy and anything else you see that I've cooked that you like. Thank you very much.